Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to ask question number 156 of 2015, listed under my name, to the Honorable Attorney General, Minister of Finance and Public Enterprise, Public Service and Communications. Can the Minister inform the House whether the government's 10 million grant commitment to assist indigenous Fijian landowners with the utilization of their land has been made available, and how can it be accessed?
Thank you. I give the floor to the Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Finance, Public Enterprises, Public Service and Communications.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to thank the Honourable Member for this question. Madam Speaker, this initiative by the government is in line with government's overall objective to essentially empower people who have been marginalized for a long period of time. As with the grant yesterday, giving the micro enterprise grant to microfinance. Similarly with this, as we've seen over the years, 91% of all the land in Fiji is Itauke land. Many people have said that the Itauke people are asset rich but cash poor. One of the reasons has been, Madam Speaker, is that if you see most Itauke land that has been developed, they're not actually developed by the Itauke people themselves. Somebody else comes and takes out a large parcel of land, then they go and subdivide it and then take the cream themselves. So this is why this initiative has been put in place. The Honourable Member would be glad to know that we have so far received 35 applications. As you know, it was advertised in the papers. There's a criteria that's been set for the application, not criteria, but what we want in the application. So in the application, we are asking evidence or approval of at least 60% of the qualifying members of the landowning unit must actually give the approval for the land to be developed, if it's going to be done through the Matangali or through the trust. The copy of the registered lease, if there is a registered lease, the details of the trustee or the company established for the purpose of the development, the confirmation, if necessary, the de-reservation of the subject land, specific boundaries of the subject land, is there any scheme plan, details of existing structures on the subject land, the type of assistance sought from government, and the type of development to be undertaken. In the application that we have received, Madam Speaker, out of the 35, 27 are specifically for subdivision of land for residential, commercial and tourism purposes. Out of this, Madam Speaker, 9 applications have been submitted regarding, and they have in fact given all the details that's required. In fact, some of them have already gone so far as getting an environment impact assessment done. They've got the town and country planning approvals done. And some of them, in fact, have been very good, where they've specifically got quotations. So they've actually gone out to FEA and they've got a quotation to say if you, to connect this land, require X number of $1,000, or to do the subdivision, they require a consultant to come and do X, Y, Z. So the applications, Madam Speaker, as I said, it's all in this table here. We're currently assessing them. Will be in the next few weeks. We've allowed a bit of time for people to apply. In fact, so we still are getting people showing interest. We receive phone calls almost on a daily basis. There will be some site visits that will be conducted. There's about 4 or 5 ones that probably are already ready to take off. The site visits will be conducted. We're going to engage some consultants to oversee the project, and that's there's work done so far. Regarding the divisional, on a divisional basis, we have 13 applications from the Central Eastern Division, 18 applications from the Western Division, 1 from the Northern Division, and 2 from the Southern Division. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Ratu Nanovo.
I do thank the Honourable Attorney General for all the initiative that have been shown so far. Just my question this morning, who will be expected to pay the initial cost of all these developments? The survey, the scheme plans, all those. Is it part of the grant, or is it have to be met by the applicants themselves? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, when we initially announced this initiative, we had said that we were going to utilize these funds primarily for the connection of utilities to these subdivision proposals, so electricity, water, roads within the subdivision. Some of these scheme plans, like I said, they've already given us quotations for that. We just need to simply carry out the site inspections. Some of them have actually requested, for example, to pay for the consultants to do the subdivision. We want to give priority to those subdivisions that actually have done most of the work, so we simply get them connected to the utilities, and then we'll go down the list to look at which ones want to, have other works being granted or funded through this particular initiative.
Thank you. I give the floor to the Honorable Ratu Soliano Matintumbo.
I want to thank the Honourable Minister. My supplementary question is, will government also provide monitoring and technical support to ensure the success of these grants?
Thank you. Honorable Attorney General.
Madam Speaker, I was not able to get the first part of the question.
Monitoring and technical support.
Yes. Most definitely, Madam Speaker, like I said, the site visits will be carried out. We'll have consultants, outside consultants that specifically look at it. For example, we don't have an engineer in the Ministry of National Planning. So we'll have consultants to oversee this work and to make sure. This is why we're not hurrying into it. We simply don't want to give out money. And if you've seen that some of the applications we've received, they have not got the approval of all the members of the landowning unit. In some cases, they've got some trustees, and some trustees have actually phoned up and say, oh, that guy should not be doing it. So there are those kind of issues that we want to make sure that the projects that actually are all above board actually will get funded first. And then we can work through with the others, because the whole idea is to assist. We are starting off from the premise as to how best we can accommodate, not how best we can reject. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Prem Singh.
Speaker, at the outset, let me thank the government for this initiative for the Itoke people. One of the requirements, as stated by the Attorney General, is that they must have a registered lease. What happens in case of when they don't have a registered lease, it's a vaka vanua? Do they have to obtain a registered lease, or will it be, or is there any provision to disburse these grants on the basis of, on the status quo?
Honorable Attorney General.
Madam Speaker, before I answer the Honourable Prem Singh's question, I must comment on his psychedelic tie. I think it's very, very nice. Reminds me of the 1960s. Madam Speaker, if in the advertisement, Madam Speaker, we have said where the actual landowning unit wants to develop the land themselves, they must have 60% of the landowning unit agreeing to that. Then obviously they can then go and get a lease on the particular land. Because you see, if you're going to subdivide the land, you need to be able to sublease it to other people who may be interested. So for example, if a Matangali has decided they want to develop this area for commercial lots. So if you come along and want to set up your factory, you will want a valid lease. The only way that you will get a valid lease is if the head lease is in place. So obviously you need a lease. You need to have a proper lease for the individuals, for them to be able to go to FDB, or if you buy the lease, you are then able to use that as collateral to build your factory. And you need security of tenure. So yes, you must have leases. Vaka vanua arrangements obviously won't hold up because you're unsure of the title. You're unsure that you have a lease that can be used as a collateral.
Thank you. I give the floor to the Honorable Moses Imbolitavo.
Thank you, Madam. I also thank the government for this initiative. This grant, I think, has been well accepted by the indigenous community. It's been long overdue. The criteria is quite high. In regards to securing a development plan. I think there are policies within NLTB to get one. There's a premium of 37,000 that you have to pay, plus surveys fees, plus other fees. But the other thing that mostly landowners, when they get into partnership with other finances to finance them, they normally sign an MOU. And that MOU is not binding according to policies of NLTB. Is there any plans within the grant that can enable development partners for landowners, Itoke landowners, to enable them to meet the requirements and to develop their land and secure development leases? Could there be some arrangements done within the grant to enable landowners to be partnership with these developers, to enable them to meet the grant?
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
The intent of this is essentially to make sure that the Itauke people have control over the development. Because as we've seen, even in the fishing industry, when we used to give licenses out to only Itauke people, you'd have somebody behind the back who's actually making all the money. They were getting just using these people as the front. We don't want that situation where you have somebody who may come along and offer, okay, look, I'll give you $100,000 up front and we'll become partners, and the Itauke landowners actually become the subservient partners. We don't want that. Our priority is for development where they are actually in control. So that's our first priority.
Thank you. I give the floor to the Honorable Joseph Andola Kibarata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank the Honourable Minister for the explanation. I, for one, had gone around to check on how you could access this thing for other people. Unfortunately, NLTB couldn't give an answer. They told me to go to finance. The person there had been transferred to AG's office. I came there. The officer had been transferred to Parliament. And nobody seemed to know what's the process. I wonder when was this process came into place.
Thank you.
And my question, Madam Speaker, is what is the maximum an individual applicant can get on development?
Thank you. Honorable Attorney General.
What is the maximum amount can be issued to an applicant? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable Member, thank you for your question. I'm sorry if you've been going to pillar to post, but obviously the other 37 people did not have any problems in making those applications. They obviously got to the right people. We have a dedicated officer at the moment, Laite. You can always call. The phone number is here. If you want, I can give you the direct phone number of the individual after this. That will help you solve that problem. Madam Speaker, the question regarding the maximum available, we have set aside $10 million in this year's budget for this particular grant. We obviously don't want to give $10 million for one project, because we want to be able to help as many projects as possible. Like I said, in the applications that we have received, some of them have, for example, said we need $900,000 because FEA has said this is how much it will be, Water Authority said this is how much it will be, these are the letters from them, please help us. There are some people, for example, in Nanronga, where the subdivision has already been carried out, they've run out of money, they don't have enough money to build the road within the subdivision. So you can see already some work has been done. So the idea is to best utilize this fund and help as many projects as possible. Some obviously require more than others, but it's on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you. The Honorable Aiyaz Sayed-Khaiyum.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank the Honourable Minister for his explanation. The question is relating to accessibility of the to the landowners. Most of the requirements that are set are basically not readily available to the landowners. So what assistance can the government put out to these landowners or put out to the public in terms of accessibility so that it can guide them to have access to the requirements that have been set out in the advertisements?
The Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank the response from the members of the opposition. Just to remind them again that this is the first time in Fiji's history such an initiative has been undertaken by any government. And I think that really must be noted. And I think they also acknowledge it. And we must all acknowledge it. And this is a good way to go. Because it also does bring about, in terms of the sharing of the wealth and the growing of the pie, we must have a lot more people participating in it, because it gives them a sense of stakeholdership within the growth of the economy. Regarding the actual, what we have seen in the advertisement, it says what to include in the application. We have not said this is the criteria for the application. So this application over here, for example, this table, we have said here, Covering letter, approval of 60% of Matangali, yes, no. Details of company, yes, no. So it doesn't mean they're knocked out. It doesn't mean they're knocked out. That's my point. So if we have people who are saying, okay, they may have the Matangali actually all agreeing to it, but they may not have, for example, the scheme plan. There's a column here for scheme plan. If they don't have it, we will actually go and talk to them to see how we can develop that, what funds they have available. Some of them have already said that they've been to FDB, and FDB has said, we'll give you the money as long as you get government to guarantee that they will pay for the electricity, water and road connection. So that's the type of thing we do. Sorry, where's the one? The office. It's at the national planning. The application there, they put in the applications. Roll Alam Balavu House. Come on. You know it's a good thing. Try not to undermine it. Let's focus on it. Okay.
Thank you. Honorable Semes Karwaki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We are grateful for the government has done this initiative for the first time in this country. $10 million we're talking about has been allocated. Given, Madam Speaker, that has been taking a lot of time, for any fund from that amount to be given to anyone, to any applicant. It may come to the end of the year, still no one has received it. Would the government consider transferring this fund this year, if it is not used, and add additional fund for the budget for next year into this fund to be assessed by the applicants?
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam
Minister.
Madam Speaker, I can assure the honourable member the funds will be used. It's not that we have said that things aren't in train. Things are in train. We obviously want to carry out a proper assessment. There needs to be proper transparency, and a lot of them, like I said, are very much ready to go. So they will take off. Those funds will be disbursed. And of course, like all the other ones, we go through a proper criteria. Like the microfinance one, it's now June, but we've got 7,000 applications. People are ready to take that. So that'll happen. The Prime Minister launched it yesterday. He's going to take off. He's doing one again in Navu on Saturday. In the same way, you'll see this take off very soon. We want to give this grant and make it actually, given budgetary requirements and constraints, whatever it may be, we want to make it an annual budgetary allocation. Because obviously there's a lot of catching up to do. So we want to make this an annual budgetary allocation, and who knows, perhaps a lot of the people have said to us also, who visited us, they've said, we will actually be ready in 6 months' time to give you the application. So we may have a whole run of people coming to us by the end of the year. So we look at that, we're already assessing it for next year, then we may be able to, or we may need to allocate more funds next year.
Thank you.